Hello, well here we are in the Strasbourg European Parliament building. We're here with a group of British voters from across the UK, and we're here to see how things function in this centre of power in eastern France. And we've got the opportunity today to have a word with the member of the European Parliament, Mr. Nick Griffin. Mr. Griffin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I wonder if you could tell us, Nick, how many of these trips a year there are, and who funds them exactly?
Well, each MEP is allowed 110 head of visitors, cattle essentially. So there's 700 odd MEPs, some of them really quite odd. So we're dealing with 70,000 people, I think, in total. It's all funded by the taxpayer, so I regard this as a sort of tax rebate for not just our members, but also supporters and associates, people who've come into contact with our people. I think it's really good. There shouldn't be any of these visits, let's face it. It's an imposition on the British taxpayer. But since we have them, I think it is good that people come here and they get a chance to see for themselves just how out of touch the place is, just how extravagant the place is, pick up some anecdotes such as the collapsing ceiling and so on, and take them back, because it makes people more effective at arguing for getting Britain out of this and saving our taxpayers the money in the first place.
Thank you, very well said. And the EU Parliament meets in Brussels and Strasbourg. Why should this be?
Well, fundamentally, because Strasbourg, it's an old industrial area on the northeastern edge of France, and it's an economic disaster area. It's had its traditional industries, coal, steel and so on, globalised out of existence, just as has happened in large parts of Britain. And so the French had a problem with Strasbourg. Brussels has, for instance, NATO. It's got the headquarters of many big multinational companies. So Brussels was ticking along quite nicely in economic terms, whereas Strasbourg was a Rust Belt basket case. So the French wanted something to bring jobs and money and prestige to this part of France. So as part of the horse trading deal between the French and the Germans, which led to the expansion of the European Union in recent years, the French got the plum of having the main parliament, the plenary sessions, here in Strasbourg.
And a splendid building it is, as we can all see.
It's paying your taxes.
There must be a cost implication to this split parliament arrangement.
Yes, indeed. The vast majority of MEPs, in fact, myself included, we regularly have votes when we vote for a single seat parliament, for it to be in one place, which logically should be in Brussels. Although the actual chamber, we can see this curved wooden thing behind us, is the bottom part of the plenary of the main voting chamber. It's enormous, this place. It's bigger than the Brussels one, but the Brussels one is perfectly big enough. This should be closed down, everything should move to Brussels, but the French won't allow it. To give you an idea of the cost, it's said, and there are arguments about exactly the figures, but you see, once a month, everything from Brussels moves here. Lorry loads of papers, coach loads of people, all the assistants, the catering staff and everybody, they decamp here en masse once a month. And the rough estimate is that cost the taxpayer €2 million, possibly £2 million, every single time, just to basically keep the French state happy that something's being done here in a part of France which would otherwise be in even worse economic trouble than it is.
And some people would say that was money well spent, although I can't think of anyone offhand.
To be honest, nobody thinks it's money well spent. Even the MEPs, who are profligate with other people's money, even they understand that this really is a bridge crossing too far. It's outrageous and it should be stopped. But it can't be stopped without a change in the treaty. France won't accept it. So, like I say, keep on paying your taxes, because for now till doomsday, or at least until the EU collapses, it's going to cost £2 million every month to come here to Strasbourg once a month.
Looking at that ceiling, it might be collapsing sooner than we think. But are you able to put sort of a daily rate on the cost to the British taxpayer to maintain this wonderful palace of dreams here and the one in Brussels, and perhaps give an indication as to what for that investment the British taxpayer gets for their money?
No.
Thank you.
Which is an unusually blunt answer from a politician, but I try to do things differently. No, I don't know the figures, and when you start asking for figures, you come up against walls of silence and so on. I've asked various questions of the Commission and of the President about various things. Sometimes you don't even get a reply, especially from the President. From the Commission you get, well, it's not our business, we can't say, figures aren't kept. You get all sorts of obfuscation to prevent you finding out how much it costs. So I think that the figure which is often used is £35 million a day in direct costs to the British taxpayer, which is an awful lot of hospital beds being able to be kept open, for instance. But the indirect costs are far, far bigger. The indirect costs, for instance, to British business of the red tape and the regulations are just gigantic. And you're actually talking billions of pounds that it costs Britain for the privilege of being ruled by unelected foreigners, because the MEPs don't initiate legislation. It comes from the Commission, over whom we have no control whatsoever. The MEPs are at best a fig leaf. So we're paying an awful lot of money to have our country misruled by foreigners. That's the long and the short of it.
Thank you. To the British voter who's more used to the electoral system as per the House of Commons, they might find the way that officials are appointed and the people who make the rules are appointed in this bastion of democracy. Could you tell us a little about that?
Well, the Commission are appointed by the governments of the member states. So, once you voted Labour, you got Neil Kinnock representing Britain, or later on you had Liam Britton representing Britain, neither of whom represent Britain. So that's fundamentally undemocratic. The people who are elected, for instance, to the Board of Auditors, yes, MEPs vote for them, but you've only got a choice between the candidate proposed by the Socialist Bloc and a candidate proposed by the Christian Democrat Conservative Bloc. Ordinary voters don't have any chance of getting a candidate they would want put in place. And when, for instance, the Commission of Auditors, year after year, decade after decade, refuse to sign off the accounts as true and fair and accurate, it's simply ignored. That's the reality of the place here. It's called a parliament, it's not a parliament. There's no discussion, no debate, no initiation of legislation, and in the end it's a hidden clique of bureaucrats appoint the people who really make the show work.
And when we look at ostensibly failed politicians such as Lord Kinnock and retired politicians such as many of the good people whose names I can't even pronounce, would a cynical view be that this is a bit of a retirement home and a pension plan for those people?
Yes, it is. Yeah, quite simply. The pension plan was extraordinarily generous, and they realised it was unacceptable. So at the start of this term, they knocked all of that out for the new people, such as myself, but they gave the people who'd already been there the option to keep on topping up their pension at the old rates, and of course all of them took it. So yeah, it's a gravy train, without a shadow of a doubt. It should be stopped. I would dearly like the opportunity to vote myself out of a job, because this place should be closed down and power should be brought back to the British Parliament, where, for all their faults and their corrupt, rotten bastards, but at least there are bastards.
Well, on that point, I think we can thank Mr. Griffin for telling us most of the benefits associated with the European Parliament, and sign off on that note.